All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashum Yahushai, Bahashum Rakakudash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rakoya from the GMS Orlando camp, coming at you with another impromptu lesson. All right, part two. All right, part one cut off, had a phone call, that happened in the middle of the video. All right, but once again, as the title of the lesson suggests, the mark of the beast is becoming a household topic. All right, it's starting to be talked about more and more frequently here in these latter days. All right, and that's a part of prophecy. A part of prophecy was that the mysteries that were contained in the Bible will be revealed in the latter days by the men who the Lord set up, who will teach according to his heart, pursuant to Jeremiah 3:15. All right, and as the prophets have been set up, the true understanding of the Bible and the prophecies contained within the Bible are now being put out, for the world to understand, and chiefly the elect to understand, ultimately, the elect of the nation of Israel. But this lesson was inspired by a couple of conversations that I've had within these last 3 days, with people in the world, just speaking to people in the world, they're privy to the system that's being set in place, this beast system. They're privy to what Esau is setting up and this technocracy, that Esau is trying to take over with. And here it is, you have some people in the world who are now coming to this understanding and this revelation, but you still have Israelite camps and so-called leaders who continuously put the mark of the beast on the back burner. All right, and this is something that should be the furthest thing from the back burner. All right, because this is one of the most pivotal end time prophecies that was foretold to take place before Yahweh's return. All right, this mark being implemented. All right, this is something that has to be at the forefront. This is something that the flock needs to understand, and grasp. All right, so that they're able to prepare themselves mentally and spiritually for what is getting ready to take place. Because what's getting ready to take place is a time like no other. Like it says in Daniel the 12th chapter. All right, what Esau is getting ready to do is essentially try to integrate his technology in our biology. Which ultimately he's not going to get the victory over the elect. All right, but the Lord is going to allow him to make the attempt. And in that attempt, a whole lot of people are getting ready to become collateral damage. But I had this here in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. And I also want to play an excerpt from the Elder Yashawama's recent video going into news and prophecy. It's entitled Distractions While Implementing the Mark of the Beast System. All right, so we're going to get this and then we'll grab, a few minutes of this video. Then we'll close it out. Lord, when it's edifying to your elect. So this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and will set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. All right, and right now the Lord has men set up on their respective watchtowers throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, men in different countries speaking different languages at all times of the day. All right, the watchtower is continually occupied. All right, and in the occupation of that watchtower, we're watching for the enemy, and the moves that he's making. And as we watch the enemy, we give warning from Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, like it says in the book of Ezekiel. All right, the 3rd chapter. We give warning from the Lord so that those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, all right, may prepare themselves spiritually and mentally for what's getting ready to take place. It says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. And the vision is speaking about the prophecy. All right, the tables is speaking about the Bible. Okay, and the visions, the prophecies have been made plain, all right, for all to understand, really. All right, the prophecies have been broken down to the least common denominator through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, starting from my elders, apostles of Great Millstone down. All right, the proper understanding, the 100% doctrine according to salvation has been broken down in the planet Earth, whether you like it, believe it or not, whether you accept it or not. All right, but it is here. The Lord did send the 100% doctrine according to salvation on the planet Earth for his remnant, for the elect to receive in the latter days and to be comforted by. But it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And now we're living in the day and age of the end. All right, because now the vision is starting to speak, and it's starting to speak more frequently. What we're starting to see damn near every other week is another development regarding this mark of the beast system. Okay, years ago it was, I believe it was like a year or two ago, brothers were going heavily into Sweden, you know, and the system that they have over there, Sweden or Switzerland. So like it's kind of escaping me. It was either Sweden or Switzerland, one of those European countries that had a couple of their employees chipped, you know, in order to get into the building, get resources, get into the vending machine, and even had some companies over here in the U.S. that were implementing that same system as well. You know, then it slowly graduated up into this point where we're at now, to where now you have AI data collection companies, all right, being closely linked to the government, all right, in order to set up this, in order to further this infrastructure, you know, in order to further Esau Edom's ability to track and to trace, all right, alongside the digitalization, all right, and the tokenization of all of Babylon's assets. Okay, and that was a statement that was made by Larry Fink a couple of days ago, all right, on going into the tokenization of all of America's assets. You know, basically putting everything, your whole life and your whole identity behind a real or digital ID, so that they can implement a social credit system similar to what's going on in China. And we see that, you know, what's going on in China with that whole social credit social credit system. We see that that is getting ready to be implemented over here. You know, and we dove into lessons, you know, going into that system that's taking place over in China, and the different systems that are set in place over there. And one of the main things dealing with that social credit system is the fact that if you have a low social credit score, all right, you're basically ostracized and alienated from that society and from different luxuries and amenities. All right, if your social credit score is in the red, you might not, you won't be able to go to certain schools. You won't have access to certain living spaces. You won't have access to certain jobs, all right, and so on and so forth. Okay, basically ostracizing you from society, which is one of the definitions when you go into Revelation, the 13th chapter, for being killed. See, give me a second. All right, this is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. All right, this is Revelation 13 and verse 15. It reads, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." All right, when you get that word for killed in the blue letter, all right, it's Strong's G615. And then you go into the root word, the etymology, all right, from Strong's G575, kataneo, all right, and it goes into a separation. It says of separation, of local separation, of separation of apart from the whole. It says any kind of separation of one thing from another by which the union or fellowship of the two is destroyed, of a state of separation. So basically, you know, being ostracized, you know, basically being separated from, you know, society, those who won't conform to the image of the beast. All right, and the image is being set up and starting to speak now, all right, through this mark of the beast system, okay? And those in these up and coming days who refuse to conform and refuse to adhere to this system are going to be killed, separated, whether that be physically or separated from different amenities and luxuries of this society that Esau is trying to engineer. Just like what's going on in China, the same thing. All right. But it says back in Habakkuk 2 and verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And just as the word of the Lord said, it didn't tarry. It's not tarrying. All right. The Lord is starting to fulfill his promises, his word. All right. And we're living through it. We're experiencing this firsthand. All right. And now it's becoming a household topic. Everybody's speaking about, what's taking place. This technocracy that's starting to take over. I was just sitting in the shop the other day, and Jake came in with an article in hand. One of the articles that one of the brothers used for a video that he did a couple of days ago. An article in hand on the effects of AI taking over these different jobs and how it's going to affect the economy. Because once people are laid off, all right, that takes money away from other systems, other companies that have been set in place. For example, the guy that, I was talking to, he was a home developer, a housing developer, and he was saying how once people are laid off, they don't have the money to pay for homes. They don't have the money to lease or rent homes. And so that affects the housing market. All right. And with homes not being built, that affects companies like Lowe's, Home Depot, and those employees. And it's like a trickle down effect. All right. It just trickles down until everybody. Everybody is affected as a result. And that's what's being engineered right now. All right, a trickle down effect, so that everybody is essentially, coerced or backed into a corner, to where the only way out is going to be that the way that Esau Edom presents, which is going to be through that mark. But I want to play a couple of minutes of this video from the Elder Yashawamba. Let me see if I can turn the camera. Yeah, we're gonna play a couple of minutes of this video. Listen up.
Okay. And eventually, pursuant to the book of Revelation 16, okay, that there's going to be a grievous sore associated with that. All right? The scriptures tell you eventually how it's going to affect your body. All that radiation on the inside of you, that's not going to go well, because that's not how the Heavenly Father intended on human beings to live. It's unnatural. But see, this is a part of this man's miracles to upgrade humans, all right, and to transcend, all right, past human physical limitations, man, to upgrade you, right, to make things easier, to make identifying you easier, to make things safer. Okay, convenience, that's how it's being sold. Right? And why the hell ain't these camps talking about it? Why ain't Deacon Hakah or Priest Hakah, whatever the hell his name is, he supposedly teaches the MOTB, but all of a sudden he's flipped on you Israelites, and now he's helping the enemy. Telling you that vocab alone could be a priest in the kingdom of heaven.
Hey, which is complete madness. This topic has been covered many times by the elders, by the elder apostles, brothers, many times. And now you have these guys trying to come up with yet another topic for discussion when we're not in that time. We're not in the time for another debate or another argument. We're in the time of feeding the sheep, giving the flock the proper understanding of what's taking place around them, because apparently everybody can see it, but these so-called Israelite leaders who continuously put the mark of the beast on the back burner. Here it is. I've talked to at least 4 or 5 people in the world that have a firm understanding of this system and the importance of and the importance behind the moves that are being made right now. And yet, like the Elder Yashawamba was getting into, these guys are coming up with salvation for the heathen in a pivotal time like this.
Just alone with you and your house shot. Not one mention of the sea hip, no more prophecy, just a bunch of mind games and confusion. See, we told you the sellouts are going to show their reary heads. They're going to show themselves. You shall know them by their fruits. Okay?
Right, and you're gonna know men by their fruits.
And I probably got one more video I do on that whole fiasco, and I'll.
And their fruits are showing that they aren't true shepherds of the Lord's flock, man. They're hirelings. But all of that is necessary, like it says in 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, because the heresies had to come in order for the men who are approved to be made manifest. You know, now the men who the Lord has approved through the Spirit are being made manifest, starting with our elders, apostles on down. I have one more, and I'll close it out. Let me see. I think not too sure if the elder's gonna play a couple of minutes of this video.
As X. It's an app on people's phones, and the central bank forced all banks to accept it. Brazilians can use it to transfer money instantly from their bank account to anyone.
I encourage you to go watch the Elder Yashawama's recent videos. Very, very informative, very edifying, like always, you know. Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 12, and I'm going to start at verse 21. It says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision." And the effect of the vision, all right, is now at hand. The effect of all the prophecies that were written, all the prophecies that we read on a daily basis are now at hand. Now these things are a household topic. Alongside the mark of the beast, World War III is another household topic that people are being forced to address, because a lot of their young ones are entering into the military to get these benefits, you know, and to try to finesse the system, but they don't know what they're getting themselves into. A lot of them are getting themselves into a fight that they will not be able to return from. Now people are becoming privy to the climate that's taking place overseas. A lot of people weren't paying attention to geopolitics before the prophets came on the scene. People weren't even privy to their local fucking news. But now people are privy to the climate that's taking place over in Europe and overseas and in Russia and China. And now they're starting to see the prophecies unfold. And it's all according to the word of the Lord. The vision is at hand now. It's no longer, people are no longer able to put off the word of the Lord, because the word of the Lord is now a near reality, a present reality. It says, tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. For there shall be no more any vain vision nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. And all these vain visions are being put to rest, all right, with these different so-called Israelite leaders and camps, all right, that have allowed their vain opinions and evil suspicions to overtake the ministry. All of that is being cast down through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahushai didn't do no miracles. All right, if Yahushai did do miracles, it was similar to witchcraft. All that bullshit is being put to rest. The name of the Lord don't matter. Jacob's trouble was gay. John the Baptist, it wasn't in the truth. All that madness is being put to rest. The mark of the beast is anything outside of the RFID microchip. And if it does come, then it is the mark of the beast. That's complete and utter fucking madness. And the Lord is putting all that to rest through the true men that he set up, who have always gave the same message. It didn't change like the phases of the moon. It didn't change like with every course of the wind. It stayed the same through the Spirit. The message was always the same. Faith, keeping the main thing, prophecy. It was always the same. Reverencing Yahweh wa Yahweh. Heralding in the Lord's second return. These things stayed the same, man. Studying to show ourselves approved, reading, studying, praying, keeping our medicine strong, being a productive member of the body. These things stayed the same. Whilst now that we're in crunch time, now that the fire is being intensified, we see a lot of men changing up their doctrine according to the times. It says, which is beautiful though, because like as the scriptures say, a lot of men are going to be added unto the true ministry by these things happening. We're back in Ezekiel 12 in verse 25. It says, "For I am the Lord, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It will be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word, and will perform it, saith the Lord power." And we're living in a day and age to where the words of the Lord are being performed in our day and age. The words of the Lord are now a household topic. And it's going to continue to be like this. It's going to get become even more of a recurring topic as the days go by, alongside many other prophecies. So we're living in a very beautiful time, man. A very, very, very beautiful time. All right? Because the boldness of the Lord's saints is being made manifest. Why men were out there on the highways and byways week in and week out prophesying of the same message, sounding like a broken record, is now being made manifest for the world to see. The world is starting to witness the power of the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And it's going to continue. It's going to continue, man. But with that being said, that's all I had. Lord wants to edify unto you elect. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukakudash, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. Shalom. Stay up.